I think this is being led by CNN. They're talking about. I think it seems to be an effort to make the war, the military operations against the Islamic Republic to become even more unpopular, like doing a major push before the midterms to make this seem like even more of a disaster. So they're talking about how bad the conditions are on USS Abraham Lincoln, talking about the soldiers not running out of food, not having enough food supply, running out of basic needs, being emotionally exhausted, and in a lot of on a lot of psychological pressure. Talking about people, soldiers there, military staff wanting to jump off board and basically delete themselves. Um, and if you look, they're making a big deal about this, and this is getting a lot of attention. Uh, so they're talking about how long. I think they said 250 days. The carrier strike group has been operating. So these people haven't seen land, like haven't been off the ship for that long. um and the source is seems to be one person not talking to any soldiers. It seems to be just one person talking to the families of the soldiers. So there's like multiple degrees of separation here. So no direct sources from the soldiers, not even the direct sources from the families, but the sources from one person saying that she talked to some family members talking to the soldiers. So I don't know why they're making it seem like this is absolutely happening. I mean, even if it is happening, that's not that is not definite. Pete Hegseth came out and said that this is fake news. They're completely misrepresenting it. They're not running out of food. They have plenty of supplies of everything, and there's no increase in uh, self deletion tendencies at all. They haven't noticed any of that. One thing I could know for I can guarantee you that this is a huge win for the Islamic Republic. Like I know a lot of you guys are going to say CNN is fake news, but in Iran, the Islamic Republic is like, oh, CNN, like Western media, they themselves are admitting, like, this is such a win in the battle of narratives for the Islamic Republic. Like, a lot of you are going to be like, oh, okay, CNN, fake news, whatever. But I don't know if you can how to explain when you have American news, mainstream American news coming out and saying this. The Islamic Republic will show this on state TV to many Iranian people who might be doubting that maybe Americans are not, don't like, maybe the Islamic Republic is actually winning this. Maybe we were wrong about this. Maybe it's the Islamic Republic you know has been telling us a little bit of the truth. When they put this out, the Islamic Republic is going to be able to say, like, look, this so-called superpower, look how much we humiliated them. We are Their soldiers are trying to end themselves because of the level of pressure that we're putting on them, right? And the so-called superpower came here thinking that they're going to have an easy job toppling the regime, but we have resisted so efficiently, so well. They thought that they could come here and we're so weak and they could just get rid of us over like in a few weeks or so. But we have resisted so well that, and they're stuck in the close to the Persian Gulf. They cannot attack us because they were too strong, and they cannot leave because we got them in this trap, and we got them so desperate that they're trying to jump off board. That's how much we're humiliating the United States, the so-called superpower of the world. And what does that make us if this is what we have reduced the soldiers of the world superpower to? If they're the superpower, if we have done this to them, then what does that make us? And if we have been telling you that we are actually powerful and we are strong, you don't need to believe us. Just look at the mainstream news and by Americans themselves. That would be the narrative, and it will be convincing to some people. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking. Do we have twos on this topic? Because you guys were talking about this before I got in here. Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. So Noah first.
Yeah, I don't think we, well, The fact that they haven't talking to the soldiers directly, that is screaming red flags. Having said that, I don't think we should count it out that there are some soldiers that are, you know, feeling the mental brunt and stuff. So there might be some truth to it. So we can't rule that out. Um, Having said that, I did read that there is a new US carrier heading to the Persian Gulf. And and if this story is true, they're probably going to switch out one of the carriers, maybe the Lincoln, who knows. Um, but I hope this isn't true, although who knows at this point.
Mhm.
Thank you, Noah. And Jose?
Okay, Noah, first thing I'm going to confirm there is an aircraft carrier that has left um, California or Oregon, wherever that carrier was stationed at, and it's on its way to the Persian Gulf to relieve the Abraham Lincoln. So that also some interesting facts about an aircraft carrier. They have to have enough food on board to feed 5,000 people. My brother was about to be assigned to an aircraft carrier when he was allowed to medically be discharged from the Navy as a senior chief. And he's told me about the operations of an aircraft carrier at sea and how he didn't want it because it was too much of a pain in the ass cooking for 5,000 people as a senior chef. He would take all the compliments and all the complaints all the time. But he did say this one thing. He goes, he would have loved to have been stationed when he was younger on an aircraft carrier because those gentlemen have more freedom. Men and women have more freedom than you know when it comes to being on an aircraft carrier. The complaints that the reporter said they haven't been on dry land in so much. Yeah, well, what do you think about nuclear submarines? They don't even see the sky. You know, the regular sailors don't even see the sky. So that's someone that's never served that's making up all these little comments and why I don't believe the claim whatsoever. Also, most warships of the United States Navy have this the policy that when they're at sea, they don't have dry land. It's called swim break. They dive off the ships, the carriers, all the cruisers, all the destroyers. They dive off. They have sharpshooters to shoot at sharks if the sharks get too close to them. Okay. And they swim in groups, and that's called recreation. Also, recreation on the aircraft carrier. Um, the hangar deck underneath can turn into one massive track. The carrier deck up top, if they're not in operation, has been used for volleyball courts, full out concerts by the musicians on board, and everything else. They live a very, very, very good life. They eat better than anybody in the United States Army eats that's deployed, or the Marine Corps. All right. They have plenty of food. They have their own supply ship that goes to sea with them. That supply ship can pull in anywhere, stock up, and bring food to them. All right. Every time that we run out of ammunition and have to pull the carriers back for ammunition, they also restock the fuel for the planes, and the food for the men. So where they're getting that these guys are distraught because they're not having their Twinkies. Okay, yeah, the Navy does apply and bring a lot of their favorite snacks on board that they can buy from the commissary on board. Okay, you should see some videos that are out there on YouTube about the aircraft carriers and how they are American aircraft carriers, how the people are fed. The biggest complaint I would have if I was them is the bunking situation. That's awfully cramped because you do have to have space for the aircraft and everything else that's on board. So that's awfully cramped sleeping arrangements. But the guys get used to it real quick and they live with it. So I I I call this an absolute looking for hits on their YouTube channel, looking for engagement, trying to start a new story, trying to put the United States military in a bad situation. People committing suicide, jumping off a ship on aircraft carrier by themselves without someone protecting them from sharks. That is committing suicide. Okay. So that guy would not be talking to anybody right now. He'd been under lock and key if he was rescued and pulled on board. That's all I got to say there.
Armin?
Okay, so the way that propaganda like this usually works is that, I'm not saying this is the case, is that something small is turned into something, is made to be look much bigger than it is. Like, would I be surprised if some soldiers are under mental pressure? No. Okay. But here's the thing, guys: wars are not supposed to be, are not picnics, right? Like, I mean, United States has a history of soldiers going into war under the worst conditions and paid the highest sacrifices to be to defend their country. I mean, look at what the American soldiers did during World War II, D-Day and all of that, right? So is they're like, shocking breaking news: war is hard. We thought war was easy. We thought our soldiers are going on a picnic and coming back and they're supposed to have all the time an amazing time. It is like, we thought it's going to be like Disneyland, and we're shocked that some people are going to be under pressure and they're not going to have the best of times. Wow, so amazing, amazing news! Like, thank you for breaking that, for that revelation. So this is like, what did they expect? Like, I think that maybe the stories regarding the food stuff could be fake and exaggeration, but the stories of people being I mean, just being away from family and loved ones, I'm pretty sure there's going to be some anecdotal examples of some people finding it very, very difficult for being away from home for a long time, right? So it wouldn't be surprised if some people are, experiencing a tough time and communicating that with their families. It's just that they take that and make it seem like everything is going to shit, and um, they just make it a bit seem like it's a much bigger deal than it is, right? That's what they do. I mean, I'm not, maybe she made it completely up out of nothing, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's something behind it and some people are experiencing some hardship. But that also confirms why ceasefires are important, right? So because people are like, oh, just keep going, just keep going. Yeah, it's not that easy, right? Like, I think people don't understand how much pressure that it puts on the soldiers. It's not just the munitions, it's not just the political reasons, it's also because you can't just keep operating nonstop for like hundreds of days in a row, and you need sometimes ceasefire. But again, if this is like, if they're using these soldiers, um if we have these actual real stories of soldiers feeling pressure and they're using this for political reasons, I mean, it's honestly shame on them, because they don't care about the soldiers. They're just using some soldiers there, that they knew what they're like. All of these soldiers, they knew what they're signing up for. They knew that this is going to be difficult. Like, they volunteered to go there knowing that this might be difficult. And if some of them are experiencing the pressure and communicating that with their family, and for you to take that as a political tool against President Trump, that is disgusting and shameful, in my opinion. Anyways.
Okay, I think you said pretty much everything I was gonna say. Maybe okay.
No,
Well,
no, say it.
this is what I had. Even if the report is completely true, and if someone deliberately jumped overboard in a deliberate attempt to commit suicide, which I doubt, CNN choosing to frame this as people need to look into whether we should even be in this war. This actively undermines the military's efforts and American negotiation position. And I think it's impossible that they don't realize this. They just think that attacking Trump is more valuable than not undermining the military. Okay, I don't think we have any other tools on this topic. So let's check on super chats.
All right, we got 4 super chats. Thank you so much, everyone. Redneck Jeep is saying, has US been in any other conflict where we allowed enemy to set the pace of combat? I don't think that it's the Islamic Republic setting the pace of combat. I think actually it's mostly the United States. It's the Islamic Republic that is being mostly doing reactions to what the United States is doing rather than the other way around. So if you think about it, actually the pace of combat, even if you don't agree with it, is being set by considerations for the midterms, for munitions, and for U.S. For the markets based on what United States cares about. So given like even if it's not going at the pace that we want, every single like everything, most of the decisions are what US cares about. So I think it's the other way around. I think the United States is deciding when to do escalate and when to de-escalate, and the Islamic Republic is following United States lead, not the other way around. But yeah, thank you, Redneck Jeep. And then we got again, I'm not saying that I agree with the level of escalation. Like, I mean, I would prefer that if we escalated more right now militarily. But I'm just saying that even if we don't agree with it, I think the U.S. is making the decision, and the Islamic Republic has no choice but to uh, match their timing, right? Arash, thank you for the super chat saying 9 months is not a super long time for carriers, by the way. Okay. It might not be, yeah, yeah, but it might not be too long for the carriers. It might not be too long for most people on those carriers because they were, they knew what they are signing up for. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of people there would find it too much, even if at the beginning they knew what they were signing up for. But yeah, I see. Thank you for that point. That's good to know. Saber Coaching, thank you so much for the super chat saying, Wallahi, I thought, what? I, was snuck already. Oh, sunk. The Abraham Lincoln was sunk already 10 times. Wallahi, I thought AL. Okay, AL is Abraham Lincoln. Wallahi, I thought Abraham Lincoln was sunk already 10 times. I think your count is wrong. I think it was closer to 12 or 15. Yeah, not only they have sunk the Abraham Lincoln more than 10 times, they have also shut it down from the sky. They have AI. They have AI images of the Abraham Lincoln like shut down on land, like as if it was flying or something. Um, and then we have another super chat by Saber Coaching saying USS George Washington is heading towards the Persian Gulf. Yes. And some people were excited that it's being added to it, to what we have there, but I think it's more likely that it's replacing something over there. And thank you. All right, guys, that's all the super chats. Let's go to the next topic.
I'm wondering if we're still on this topic because Soapbox is putting some information in the chat. Do we want to look at this? It's from Stars and
Okay.
Stripes.
Okay. You want to
see
read
it?
them? No, I don't
Or
see it.
you don't see the? It's in the chat. There's a link.
You-
Stripes.com.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Let me see. Okay, copy link address. All right, let me just quickly take a look here. Thank you. Okay. So this is an article by Stripe saying USS Abraham Lincoln families press Navy leaders over sailors' mental health. So, by the way, guys, keep in mind that this is not the soldiers themselves. So these are not the people who are serving themselves. And let me just see if I could get a summary of this really quickly, of this article. Give me a second. Okay, so let me read what you saying. Source Navy. This is about 200 spouses. Okay, so 200 spouses and family members brought concerns about mental health. Okay, so here's the summary. Let me bring it up. Okay, the USS Abraham Lincoln has been deployed in the Middle East and Persian Gulf since January. And the crew has endured over 250 consecutive days at sea amid intense combat operations against the Iranian regime. Exhaustions, broken facilities, and extreme supply shortages have triggered a severe mental health crisis abroad. Desperate sailors have reportedly attempted to jump overboard, leading to massive outrage of families and lawmakers. Okay, but the thing that the summary is not pointing out is that the source is only some people talking to certain family members, right? That's what is missing from this summary. I don't know if that's because the families usually are more concerned. Like for example, if the son calls his mom and basically talks about the stress, the mom usually is a lot more expressive about how. Let me see. Reports of the mental health crisis do not rely on family members' town hall statements. A U.S. defense official confirmed on August 13th that a sailor went overboard in July 2026. Okay, yeah. Active duty sailors sent live text messages and leaked photos showing mold and rationed food from the ship. U.S. lawmakers and armed services committees reviewed physical evidence before launching formal investigations on August 2026. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth publicly addressed a escalating situation and acknowledging the. Okay, but he also said that it's an exaggeration. Okay, so this is saying like some of the stuff are real. Like I said, like this wouldn't be a surprise that some of this stuff is real and some people are experiencing mental pressure. But again, these are some of many of the people over there. But what do you think, Nelbany? It's expected. This is what I said. This is expected that some soldiers are, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if some soldiers there are experiencing pressure as part of war. That's what wars
I
are
mean,
like. They're tougher. Yeah.
I think that in the military, just in general, I mean, if you're in the military, people shoot at you.
Mm.
Having issues with mental health kind of comes with it. It really does. I mean, that's why they have lots of systems to sort of check on it and check on the mental health of people. It's why they have the people swimming and everything. I mean, they don't have to do that, but they do that because to raise their spirits, to keep them talking to people and not sort of sink into themselves and and dwell. So all of those things are true, and those have actually all been true for a very very long time. My father was Marine, and he was on mainly on the USS Iowa for a couple of years. So I mean, it's just it's a floating city, and they sort of treat it like it's a floating city, and in it, I can understand that just like anybody might have those thoughts. And then, of course, on top of it, men have it more than women. I mean, well, where they actually might actually do something about it and succeed. So that I just think you have to take all those things into account. And also, it's a very large population. It's what, like 5,000 or more. It's like over 5,000 people, all on a boat. Um, so yeah, I think that Pete Hegseth is probably what he's saying is right. Is that there's a lot. I think that there might be a lot of exaggeration, and that CNN is just snapping it up. I'm not ignoring it, soapbox. I'm just saying that it it is something we have to take into consideration. That it is generally true that people in the military um, can go into a pretty dark place a lot of times. So that's my thoughts.
My name is Armin Navabi. I'm an Iranian political analyst with decades of experience fighting the Islamic regime inside and outside of Iran. Make sure you follow me for more, and also make sure you join our discussion group. I'm there almost every single day. Come talk to me there and the rest of the people there in our group calls. It's a great place to meet and talk to people who like talking about politics. The link is in the description and or in the bio. You could also get there by scanning the QR code on the screen. See you there.